Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. You ready to get into it today?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You're
Let's do it.
awesome. So today we are diving into the crypto world, specifically looking at Solana versus Ethereum. This is a hot topic right now.
It really
So a
is.
lot of people are wondering, can this up-and-comer Solana actually dethrone the reigning champion Ethereum?
Yeah, it's the classic battle, right? The new
Yeah.
kid on the block versus the,
Yep.
the old guard.
Right, exactly. So we've got a whole stack of articles here that we've been digging through.
Oh, yeah. We've got some good stuff here.
Yeah, we've got price predictions for 2025. We've got, deep dives into the strengths and weaknesses of each platform.
Comparisons of their ecosystem.
Yeah, comparisons of their ecosystems. We're looking at NFTs. We're looking at DeFi. We're really going to break it all down.
A whole 9 yards.
Exactly. So I think our mission here is to really try to cut through the hype.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of noise out
A
there.
lot of tribalism.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to
Yeah.
try to look at the technology. What are the real technological differences between these platforms?
Right, and then what are the real world implications of those differences?
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, it's about how this technology can impact our lives.
Right. It's got to be applicable to something.
Exactly. So with that in mind, let's jump right in. Let's start with the basics consensus mechanisms.
Hmm.
So Ethereum uses proof of stake. Now that's POS,
Right.
and that's, all about energy efficiency and
Keep it
security.
clean and secure. That's what they're going for.
Exactly.
Right.
But Solana is doing something a little different. They're combining proof of stake with something called proof of history.
Proof of history. Yeah, that's their secret sauce, I think.
Yeah, so what is proof of history in a nutshell?
Okay, so imagine you have this blockchain, and it's like a perfectly synchronized ledger, and every transaction is timestamped.
Mm-hmm.
And not only is it timestamped, but it's linked to the transaction that came before it. So it creates this verifiable order of events.
Okay, so like a chain of events.
It's exactly a chain of events. And because you have that order, you don't have to spend as much time validating transactions.
I see. So it's like having a timestamp on every single transaction, which makes it much faster to verify.
Exactly. It streamlines the whole process.
That's really interesting. So that explains why Solana is so much faster, right?
It's a big part of it, yeah.
So how much faster are we talking about?
Well, Solana can handle thousands of transactions per second. Like we're talking 4,000, 5,000, even more sometimes.
Wow.
Ethereum, on the other hand, you're looking at maybe 15 to 30 transactions per second on a good day.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's a big difference.
It's a huge difference in speed.
Yeah, so does this mean that Solana could potentially solve some of Ethereum's biggest problems, like those high gas fees we always hear about?
It definitely has the potential. I mean, Ethereum's gas fees are based on demand, right?
Right.
So when the network gets congested, those fees can absolutely skyrocket.
Hmm.
I'm sure you've experienced this yourself.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You try to buy an NFT or do something on a busy day, and suddenly you're hit with a $50 gas fee.
Exactly. It's like, oh, I just wanted to buy this cute little JPEG, and now it's costing me an arm and a leg.
Right. It's a barrier to entry for a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. And Solana is trying to address that by keeping transaction costs super low.
Yeah. Fractions of a penny in some cases.
Wow, that's incredible.
It's a game changer for microtransactions, especially.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But, we have to acknowledge that Ethereum is still the king of DeFi, decentralized finance. It's got that established ecosystem, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's the OG.
Yeah, it's where all the major DeFi protocols got their start. It's where most of the money is locked up.
Yeah. Ethereum has that first mover advantage for sure.
Right. So can Solana really compete in that space?
Well, what's interesting is that Solana is attracting a lot of developers who are specifically interested in building fast and cost-effective applications.
I see.
And when you look at total value locked, which is a measure of how much money is in DeFi projects, Solana is now the second largest blockchain.
Wow.
So it's definitely gaining traction.
So the new kid on the block is making some serious waves.
Yeah, we're not messing around.
And what about NFTs, non-fungible tokens? That's another area where Ethereum has really dominated so far.
Yeah, Ethereum is the go-to platform for most NFT projects. You've got the big marketplaces like OpenSea and Rarible,
Right.
but Solana is emerging as a contender, especially for artists and creators.
Okay, why is that?
Well, first of all, the fees are lower.
Okay,
The minting speeds are faster.
got it.
And some people argue that Solana is better for the environment because it's more energy efficient.
Oh, interesting. So is Solana becoming the artist's choice for NFTs?
It's attracting a lot of attention, for sure.
So it's not just about, the JPEGs and the profile pictures. We're seeing some really innovative NFT projects popping up on Solana.
Right, things you wouldn't necessarily see on Ethereum.
Like what?
Well, for example, there are projects focused on real-time gaming experiences
Oh, cool.
and fractional ownership of digital assets.
That's really interesting.
So it's not just about collecting pretty pictures anymore.
Yeah, it's about utility and functionality.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
about using NFTs to represent real-world assets and experiences.
I like that. Okay, so before we get too deep into the world of NFTs, let's take a step back and talk about the tokens themselves, ETH versus SOL.
Right, the heart of the matter.
Yeah, so both Ethereum and Solana have incorporated deflationary mechanisms, but they approach it in different ways.
They do.
So Ethereum burns base fees as a way to try to manage inflation.
Right, it's like taking money out of circulation.
Exactly. And Solana, on the other hand, burns 50% of all transaction fees.
So it's a more aggressive approach.
Yeah, it is. So I guess the question is, what does this mean for the long-term value of these tokens?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a complex topic, and we could probably do a whole deep dive just on that.
We probably could.
But let's move on for now and talk about market adoption and institutional interest. So Ethereum has clearly achieved mainstream recognition, right?
Oh, absolutely.
We're seeing institutional investors jumping in.
Yeah.
We're seeing, big companies getting involved.
Yeah, Ethereum is the blue chip of the crypto world.
Right. And it boasts a market cap of over $280 billion.
That's a lot of zeros.
Yeah, it's a lot of zeros. So how does Solana stack up against that?
Well, Solana is definitely gaining momentum, particularly in the DeFi and meme coin communities.
The meme coin community.
Yeah, there's a lot of buzz around Solana and those circles.
That's interesting.
And we're even seeing Solana ETFs getting approved in some countries.
Wow, that's a big deal.
It is. It shows that Solana is being taken seriously by institutional investors.
So it's not just about the technology, it's also about perception and adoption.
Right. It's about gaining legitimacy in the eyes of the mainstream financial world.
And speaking of technology, there's this potential game changer on the horizon, Solana's Fire Dancer upgrade.
Oh, yeah. This is the big one.
So what is Fire Dancer and why is everyone so excited about it?
Okay, so Fire Dancer is a new validator client for Solana, and it's expected to significantly increase the network's transaction speed.
Okay, how much faster are we talking?
Well, some estimates say that Fire Dancer could boost Solana speed to 1 million transactions per second.
1 million.
Yeah, you heard that right.
Right.
1 million transactions per second.
Wait, hold on. We need to unpack that. I mean, that's a lot to process.
It's mind-boggling, isn't it?
Yeah. So what would that even look like in practice?
Well, if you think about it, it could revolutionize the way we use blockchain technology.
Yeah.
Imagine a world where blockchain transactions are so fast and seamless that they become practically invisible.
Okay, so like we wouldn't even notice them happening.
Exactly. They would
Yeah.
just be happening in the background, powering all sorts of applications and services.
Wow, that's a really exciting vision.
It is. It's the kind of thing that could take blockchain from a niche technology to something that's truly mainstream.
Yeah. So Fire Dancer is definitely something to keep an eye on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It has the potential to change the game completely.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about consensus mechanisms, transaction speeds, DeFi NFTs, tokenomics, market adoption, and even this crazy Fire Dancer upgrade.
It's been a whirlwind.
It has. But before we get lost in all the technical details, I want to bring it back down to earth and ask, why should the average person care about all of this?
That's the most important question, right?
It is. So what does this Solana versus Ethereum showdown actually mean for you, the listener?
Well, that's a great question. And it's one that we're going to explore in detail in the next part of our deep dive.
All right, so stay tuned, folks. We're just getting started.
The best is yet to come.
Okay, so we've laid out the battlefield, Solana, the speed demon, versus Ethereum, the established titan. But what does this all mean for you, the average crypto enthusiast out there?
Yeah, it's great to talk about all the technical stuff, but ultimately it's about how this technology can improve your life, right?
Right, exactly. So how could Solana actually make a difference in your day-to-day life?
Well, think about it. Imagine a world where sending crypto is as easy and instant as sending a text message.
Okay, I like where this is going.
And not only is it instant, but it costs next to nothing.
So no more waiting for transactions to confirm and no more crazy gas fees.
Exactly. And this opens up a whole world of possibilities.
Like what?
Well, think about micropayments for content creators. You could tip your favorite artist or writer a few cents for their work without any hassle.
That's a cool idea.
Or imagine seamless integration with online games. You could buy in-game items or rewards instantly and for a fraction of the cost.
That would definitely change the gaming landscape.
Absolutely. And even things like paying for everyday purchases with crypto could become much more feasible with Solana's speed and low transaction costs.
So like using Solana to buy a cup of coffee?
Exactly. It could become as easy as tapping your phone.
That's a really compelling use case. I know some people have been hesitant to dive into DeFi because those gas fees on Ethereum can be a real barrier.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're trying to do things like yield farming or lending and borrowing those gas fees can eat into your profits pretty quickly.
Exactly. And that's where Solana could really shine. Its accessibility could open up the world of DeFi to a much wider audience.
Right, people who might have been priced out before.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not just about speed and cost. It's about democratizing access to financial tools.
That's a great way to put it.
But let's not get carried away just yet. Speed and cost are great, but security is paramount, right?
Oh, absolutely. You can't have a financial system without security.
Right. And Ethereum has been around for a while. It's been battle-tested. It's had its share of issues. But the network has always bounced back.
Yeah, Ethereum has a proven track record when it comes to security.
So how does Solana compare in that regard?
Well, Solana has faced some questions regarding network stability.
Okay.
We've seen some outages and performance issues in the past,
Right.
which naturally raises concerns. But it's important to remember that Solana is still a relatively young platform.
Right. It's still under development.
Exactly. And they're constantly working to improve security and stability.
So it's a constant balancing act, right? Trying to achieve that sweet spot between speed, cost, and security.
It's a tough challenge, but one that both platforms are actively working on.
Yeah, and it seems like both Ethereum and Solana are constantly evolving. They're both pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
It's an exciting time to be in this space.
It really is. Okay, so let's shift gears and talk about NFTs again. We touched on this earlier, but I want to dive a little deeper. We talked about how Ethereum is the dominant player, but Solana is attracting artists and creators with its lower fees and faster speeds.
Right, and we're seeing some really unique NFT projects popping up on Solana, things you wouldn't necessarily see on Ethereum.
So give me some examples. What kind of projects are we talking about?
Well, for example, there are projects focused on real-time gaming experiences. Imagine owning a unique in-game item that's represented by an NFT.
Okay, so like a sword or a shield in your favorite game.
Exactly. And because it's an NFT, you can trade it or sell it to other players.
That's really interesting.
And then there are projects focused on fractional ownership of digital assets. Like imagine owning a piece of a famous artwork or a rare collectible.
Okay. I'm starting to see the potential here.
It's about using NFTs to represent things that have real value in the digital world.
And Solana is well suited for these types of applications because of its speed and low cost.
Exactly. It makes it much easier to buy, sell, and trade these NFTs.
And we can't forget about the meme coin craze. Solana seems to be a breeding ground for those viral tokens that capture the internet's attention.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a hotbed for meme coins.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think Solana's speed and low cost make it easier for people to experiment with new tokens.
Okay, so it's like a more accessible platform for creating and trading meme coins.
Exactly. It's a bit like the Wild West of crypto.
I like that. So the big question on everyone's mind is Solana an Ethereum killer? Can it really dethrone the reigning king?
Well, that's a loaded question.
It is, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Okay, well, I think Solana certainly has some compelling advantages. Speed, scalability, low cost. Right. And when you look at metrics like daily active users and daily transactions, Solana is often outperforming Ethereum.
So by those measures, Solana's already ahead.
In some ways, yes.
Right.
But Ethereum had that massive network effect, right? A huge developer community, a proven track record. And let's not forget the institutional money that's pouring in.
So Ethereum has a lot of momentum behind it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
And they're constantly innovating, too. Upgrades like bank sharding are aimed at improving scalability and reducing those pesky gas fees.
Okay, so Ethereum is fighting back.
They're not going down without a fight. And they've already got ETFs approved in the U.S., which is a huge step towards mainstream adoption.
So it's not an easy battle for Solana to win.
It's definitely an uphill battle.
So do you think it's a winner-take-all scenario?
No.
Or could we see a future where both Ethereum and Solana coexist?
I think it's more likely that they will coexist, but perhaps in different niches.
Okay, I like that idea. So tell me more about this niche theory.
Well, imagine Ethereum as the bedrock for complex financial applications and high-value transactions.
Okay, so like the foundation of DeFi.
Exactly. And then Solana could handle the high-speed, low-cost world of micropayments and things like in-game transactions.
So they each have their own strength.
Exactly. And instead of competing directly, they could complement each other.
That's a really interesting perspective. So instead of a winner-take-all scenario, we could see a future where Ethereum and Solana work together to create a more diverse and robust blockchain ecosystem.
Exactly. I think that's a very real possibility. And I think it would be beneficial for everyone involved.
I agree. It's like the saying, a rising tide lifts all boats.
Exactly.
So as we move into the final part of our deep dive, let's shift our focus to the future. What does the crystal ball tell us about the future of Solana and Ethereum? Are they destined for greatness, or are there potential pitfalls on the horizon?
Well, predicting the future is always a risky business. But by analyzing trends and understanding the strengths and weaknesses of each platform, we can make some educated guesses.
So join us as we explore what the future might hold for these two blockchain giants. We're about to get really speculative.
It's going to be fun.
Okay, so we've explored the ins and outs of Solana and Ethereum, and now it's time to look ahead. What does the future hold for these two blockchain powerhouses?
Well, predicting the future of technology is always tricky, but we can look at trends and the strengths of each platform and try to make some educated guesses.
So let's address the big question that's on everyone's mind. Is Solana really an Ethereum killer? Can it actually dethrone the reigning champ?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's not an easy one to answer. I mean, remember how we talked about Solana already surpassing Ethereum in some key metrics like daily active users and transactions?
Right, and with that Fire Dancer upgrade potentially pushing speeds to 1 million transactions per second, it's definitely shaking things up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Solana is a serious contender. But we also have to remember that Ethereum has a massive head start, a huge community of developers, and a track record of innovation. They're not just going to sit back and watch Solana take over.
So Ethereum is fighting back.
Well, absolutely. They're constantly improving with upgrades like dank sharding, which is aimed at tackling scalability and those high gas fees. And the fact that Ethereum already has ETFs approved in the US shows serious progress towards mainstream adoption.
So maybe it's not about one platform completely dominating the other. Could we see a future where both Ethereum and Solana thrive, but in different niches?
I think it's a very real possibility. Imagine Ethereum as the foundation for those complex financial applications and high-value transactions.
Okay, so like the bedrock of DeFi.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then Solana could handle the high-speed, low-cost world of micropayments and things like in-game transactions where speed and affordability are paramount.
So it's almost like they could complement each other, creating a more diverse and powerful blockchain ecosystem overall. Ethereum provides security and stability while Solana brings the speed and affordability.
I think that's a great way to put it. And that kind of collaboration could unlock possibilities we haven't even thought of yet.
Of course, there are challenges ahead for both platforms. Ethereum still needs to find a solution to those gas fee spikes, and Solana needs to prove it can maintain stability and security as it continues to grow.
Right, and both platforms have to navigate the evolving regulatory landscape, which can be tricky. Governments are still figuring out how to approach crypto, and their decisions could have a huge impact on the industry.
So with all that in mind, what's the big takeaway for our listeners? What should they be thinking about as they watch this all unfold?
I think the most important thing is to stay informed and keep an open mind. This space is evolving rapidly, and what seems like a sure thing today could change tomorrow.
And don't be afraid to explore both platforms. Maybe Ethereum is your go-to for DeFi, while you dabble in Solana for NFTs or gaming. The beauty of this technology is that you get to choose how you interact with it.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe one of our listeners will be the one to develop the next killer app that pushes blockchain technology even further. The possibilities are truly endless.
That's a great point to end on. So, to wrap up our deep dive, I want to leave you with this thought. The future of blockchain is still being written, and it's up to all of us to be a part of that story. Keep learning, keep exploring, and most importantly, keep asking questions.
Well said. I think that's the key to understanding this exciting new world.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Solana versus Ethereum. It's been a fascinating journey.
It really has.
And we'll catch you next time, Deep Divers.